All right, traders, just a quick recap. This is Christian from Hertz Tribeca Trade Group, and it is Wednesday, the 16th. We had another update in the market today. We had a little bit of a fade at the end of the day. IWM up 75 basis points. SPYs, where did they finish? They finished up 25 basis points. Qs actually finished, quiet day for the Qs, finished flat on the day. The main story was financials today. No doubt, this was not a group that I really had any exposure to. So we saw a ton of option activity. I just didn't feel like chasing this morning. I had a meeting midday too, so I just did not put on any major trades today. I put on one trade in Square today. I'll go over the Square setup in just a second, but. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of action in mainly BAC was the one that we kept on seeing option activity. It's one that we have been seeing option activity. BAC is one of those names where I think the option activity is always difficult to read. Every day we usually see, little bits and pieces of BAC options, usually 10 cents, 20 cents, that kind of stuff, always against open interest. But, we started to see a little bit more activity yesterday, kind of after JP Morgan reported. And then we also saw today afterwards, and you could see the volume was huge today. These were huge moves today in the financials. So basically, they just erased the whole December move, right? That whole dramatic sell-off that we saw in financials. Goldman had a humongous day. Again, that would have been the one name that I would have wanted to chase, but. I said this in the trading room this morning, and I don't mind admitting when I'm wrong. And I had no money to, I didn't lose any money. I had no trades on, but it just kind of, it would have been nice. It would have been nice to have maybe one Goldman trade on the open. But, it's funny because sometimes these names, they repeat the same type of thing. Like I've seen Goldman pop pre-earnings pre-market on earnings time and time after again, and it usually gives it back. And I said that in our pre-market show, and I was wrong on this one. It just kept going and had a monster day. So yeah, I would have liked to buy something maybe on the open. And you go back to the results that they had. I mean, did I think that they were great results? No, not necessarily. They just weren't as bad. I mean, this was really, these things got pretty oversold and went too far. Right when the pendulum, I can't speak today. When the pendulum sways just one way too far, it's just basically what we saw, right? Going all the way down to 150 for Goldman, a little bit too much of a reaction. Shorts piled onto this thing and really pushed this thing a little bit too far. So, now it's kind of snapped back. So we'll see. I mean, I still kind of maintain my view for the banks. I don't know. I don't think that I really want to be in these things other than for a bounce trade. And you got the bounce trade. So, and notice the VPOC that was taken out. Virgin point of control was taken out right on the lows, which would have been a nice way to kind of play it. So that was really the story of the day. I had up in the beginning when I started the recording, just what's been going on in credit spreads. This is Whoops, this is the wrong one. This is TLT over SPY. That's not what I want. I want TLT over HYG. So just give me a second while Bloomberg comes up with this chart. But I keep hearing that. And I'm not trying to defend anything because, I want to be as neutral as possible. So let me just try to bring, there we go, TLT HYG. This is credit spread. So you could look at it either way, but it actually kind of looks at that like that TLT SPY setup too. But look at credit spreads come all the way back in. So, we really had a big, I've been calling it a hiccup, for what HYG did. HYG, the high yield bond ETF. This is just looking at the weekly chart, and notice that this kind of I don't think this was on a lot of people's radar. I tweeted this out last was it last weekend? Yeah, I think over the weekend I tweeted this out with really not many people talking about this. And I think, sorry, you have to look at this in terms of I'll do this on with dividends, right? Because they pay HYG pays a lot of dividends. So you want to make sure that you're looking at this with dividend adjusted charts, and my Thinkorswim is not. But it's all the way back, and it went through right all that overhead resistance that we keep hearing about. HYG just went through it no problem, right? So everybody getting out their pencils and with with the S&P and talking about the 2600 level, so I don't know. So what's gonna, I don't have a crystal ball. Let's go to the S&P chart now. But I just think that just putting some of these charts in front of people that look a little bit different than what everybody is looking at with that overhead resistance of 2600, or if we look at SPY. But again, I mean, look at this, right? I mean, sorry, I'll move on in just 1 second. But yeah, look at that overhead resistance. Look at how much that affected it. So I just wanted to bring that up because prices can go through overhead resistance. They don't have to get held up there and go down lower. Now, that's not to say that that's not going to happen, but I keep talking about this, right? I keep talking about how if you use the 5-period moving average, there's been no reason to short as of yet. If you're looking for confirmation, if you're one of those people like myself who look for some confirmation, now I have a couple hedge trades on here because I do think that we've had a really nice run from the lows, but I keep mentioning that one of the scenarios is that we kind of chill out for a little bit rather than go all the way back to the lows. So there's a lot of different scenarios that could play out here. And again, we've got some big earnings reports that are coming out. Netflix is going to be reporting tomorrow. I just can't believe that Netflix is up 50% from the lows. What a monster move. I do think that there's been some positioning going on in Amazon and Google, mostly yesterday after they saw what after what they saw with the price increase that Netflix did and how it was well received. We did see some action, and it looks like some positioning going into earnings for Amazon and for Google. So I think those are ones to watch. A little bit of just a nothing day. It looks like a doji. So again, I see resistance. I do see resistance up here at the top of value in the 200-day moving average. But really, the price is still not turned lower for most things. So I use the 5-period moving average, by the way, is the yellow line on my charts. So I've been trying to really stick to that. And even though I've got a couple small hedges on, I'm really not doing anything else to the short side until there's some confirmation that the trend is going to change. And the reason why, and I've gone through this in different videos, but the reason why I don't do that, and try to anticipate what the next move is going to be, is because I've seen this time and time again where everybody says, oh, well, we got to go lower, and we don't. I wait for price to confirm it. And I do still think that the pain trade is higher, right? And I think Tim Seymour said this, and I've been saying this for the last couple of days as well, is that there are so many people. I was out of the office midday today, and I was just turned on Twitter, and I see like everybody just thinking that we are either going to pause, move down, retest, and so there's just a lot of people that are kind of anticipating that. And my view is always that the market does what market doesn't always do what consensus and what everybody wants it to do. So what did I do today? So after I'm kind of preaching some things here, and we could look at the Qs and we can look at IWM. Both are getting close to resistance. So for me, I lighten up, right? I have some trades on, but I've been trying to lighten up and stay that way and kind of take some more exposure off. I mean, I took off some nice trades that I've been holding on to for the last week, or Hubs was one. This one I just saw something didn't look right to me this morning. I saw a lot of these enterprise application names start the day higher and really started to take off, and then they just kind of like felt like they hit a brick wall, and some of them. So like if you look at the 5-minute bar, so I got out of Hubs today, I got out of Zen today, and I have alerts in case they get back to where they were, because this Zen, I like it, so it pains me to kind of take the profits, but when you see something like this in the beginning of the day, where it's really taking out, it goes and takes out the highs like this, and then falls back. Sometimes I think that could be a reversal day, and I wouldn't say that yet for Zen and some of the other application software names. But man, these things have been on such a tear. I wouldn't be surprised if they did because from my experience, I do know that markets don't normally move in a straight line. So, yeah, I took some profits. NTNX, I was lucky to catch the damn high in this one. I just wasn't going to be greedy. And right around in that first 5 minute bar, I said, okay, I'm out. And I got lucky with that one. Hubs, I didn't get out right at the tippy top high, and same thing with Zen. I just kind of made a decision once I saw them. And I know this VPOC is up here, but same thing. So those are some of the trades. I also took off Tandem. That was a winning trade. This thing, I've been waiting to get this thing to 45 bucks. I kind of just said it's close enough for me for Tandem. I know it's a volatile name, but another one that worked really well. So again, I wasn't in the banks, but man, some of the trades that we put on, I think have done exceptionally well. And yeah, and then my other plan is, tomorrow's Thursday, which we're going to get Netflix after the close. And then it's Friday, and then we have a 3-day weekend, and I kind of want to be a little bit more in cash. Again, I don't necessarily have to press to the short side. Right now, I've got a couple Qs on, and I've got a couple SPYs on puts, and those are long hedges. And if I start to continue to unwind things, I would rather not be in shorts either. And we'll just kind of see what the market does, especially processing new information as more and more companies start to report earnings. So I'm patient. I've had a great first half of, what's today? Today's the 16th. Great first half of January. I'm up really nicely for the month, and then we'll kind of just see. I mean, my goal is always to just put together winning months. So it's been one hell of a January so far, so I don't necessarily need to really push it here. Square kind of gave me a false signal. This is what I'm looking at Square. First of all, on the daily chart, nice move up here, and I missed this move in Square, so I've been watching it consolidate. So this is a very easy trade, right? So if my stop is right at the top of value, 54.55, I think I said, right? So that's just down about $1.50. And what I was looking at on this in the first hour of the day was a breakout of value. Now it did not do it, so that could have been a false move higher. Again, the 1 hour value areas really give me some good signals. That's what gave us a signal in NTNX this week. This again was a monster move. Just to kind of review this, where's NTNX? Let me back up here. Oh yeah, here it was. Here was the coiling that I saw on the 1 hour, and then once it broke out here and kind of retested, and then this thing just launched higher from 45 bucks. So if you're like me and you didn't catch the financials, there's plenty of other things. We were talking about that in the room in the first part of the day, that there's plenty of things that are moving 5% a day, that you can catch. So if you did happen to catch the financials move, congratulations to you. But very, very nice. What else am I long? I'm long. So I haven't gotten out of everything yet, but Coop actually is hung in there. I like this chart as well. It's coming out of this consolidation. So something like this, and again, defining your stop, so easy. 66.30 is basically my stop. We'll just see what it does. I would look for this thing maybe to go back up to this point of control up here. That's where I would like to see it go to. What else? Just a couple other groups that I thought were interesting were the Chinese internets. I didn't see how these things finished up, but a couple of them had some momentum to them. I think Billy was another name. These things are not looking bad. Again, as long as these are high momentum names like this Hua, which I'm sure I'm pronouncing incorrectly. You got your stop of 17 bucks on that one, 17.12. If you want to play with the Chinese Internet ETF, it's KWeb. Still not above the 50-day moving average. I've talked about this EM, so I'm not going to talk about it again. But really nice looking. I'm long January 2020 calls, and those are working out. So far so good. Knock on wood. All right, so that's it for today. A couple other movers that just besides tech and besides the banks, this UNH, whew, What a nice move. This was something that we highlighted in the weekend newsletter, but I like the whole group. I also put out I thought the whole group was way oversold. You don't hear too many people talking about this. Healthcare names. This, and by the way, this is healthcare providers. So not only UNH, but Humana, Cigna. I think CVS is also in here as well. But quietly from 164 to 174. So real strong move, and I think this one could have more to go as well. One other area that had some call activity yesterday was XLU. You want to go into something a little bit different. Again, you also have a nice defined support or stop level. Just use the 200-day moving average. That's it. And see if utilities want to do something. I think they've gotten pretty beaten up because of this PCG, but I think it's something different, right? A little bit of diversification never hurt anybody. Today's option activity, yeah, we saw a lot of different things today. Again, it was mainly BAC. We saw some UAL chasing. There was another nice order in EA today. I thought that was interesting. EA, what can I say? It's one of those names where we've seen option activity in it before and it's been a complete zero. Maybe this time, oops, that's the wrong chart. Maybe this time they're onto something. They went right around the lows of the day and they bought more. So it is above the 50-day moving average. It looked like when they bought those calls, I think it was 2 days ago, it looks like they were going to, I thought they might be a dud again, considering that it was down about 1.5%, 2%. But they came back and they anteed up. They bought more today. So that's where I'll leave it for the day. Have a great day, everybody. See you tomorrow.